Hey, good morning. Happy Friday. Happy winter. Welcome to the live show. I think this is about 6th or 7th one today, Friday the 22nd. Quick favor for me, as always, do the likes, the shares, and comments, because I can bring up your comments live, which is kind of fun. We may run into some topics today that you could talk about, and maybe we'll pop you up on the screen live and talk about that. Maybe you're home because of the snow. Hello, winter. I would estimate 3 to 4 inches in my part of town anyway. I'm sure there's some that was more, maybe a little less, and more coming Sunday night into Monday, along with 40-mile-an-hour winds. We've missed you, winter. You're late. It has been a bad one for some industries, not the least of which would be those who remove the snow. A lot of the snowmobilers are not digging it, the resorts, the fishermen. I wonder if it's been better for real estate agents. Today on the Positively Tim show, I have, there she is, Brenda Rouse with Edina Realty out of the Olivia office, right?
Well, I'm in Wilmer office, but I live in Olivia.
Oh, okay. All right. Are you staying put today a little bit?
I am for the morning. I do have some errands that I need to run later, so I will be going out in the snow.
Are they work-related errands?
Yes, actually, okay. I have to go to the office. So.
Okay. Is it a little easier to do showings in December, January, February when there's no snow? And
yes. You don't have to wear your boots. You're not like all winter. I don't know if I wore a coat at all.
Right. Yeah.
Because then when you're showing houses, you have a coat on. I just get so hot. I get in my car and have to put my cold seats on just to cool off. I get warm.
Right. And then like if you're doing an open house and you want people to remove their shoes, it's easier to slip off a sandal than say the ankle high boots with laces.
Yes. I wear a lot of hey dudes and my shoes are not always pretty. I am not that person wearing heels on this showing. It's a lot of slip-on shoes.
I've got some hey dudes, and then I found some that are a similar look and feel, but they're from Reef. If you want to up your shoe game, Reef.
I have like 6 pairs of hey dudes.
Okay, maybe that's enough.
Or as a coworker of mine calls them, hello dudes.
Oh,
hello dude.
Much more formal that way. We're not really talking real estate today. We had sort of some accidental run-ins and the conversation went like, oh my gosh, we should talk about that. We should share that. People probably can relate to that. I think I remember we became somewhat acquainted, 7-8 years ago, but I don't really remember how. Do you?
Yes, I do. So my first cousin is a radio DJ as well, and he was interviewing with Lakeland Broadcasting to be your co-host at that time.
That's JD.
Yeah,
this is that place. I've had an uncomfortable place like that before. Oh, he didn't get the job. I don't know if I was in charge at that time. I had someone, in fact, an attorney in my wife's office. He's not there now. Clever, funny guy. And we were at pizza all together. And I said, man, you should be on a morning show. He said, well, funny you should mention it. I interviewed with you and I didn't get the job.
Oops.
Oh, that's right. But clearly, I saw more potential in him as an attorney, and that has turned out very well for him.
Yeah. And maybe the pay might be a little bit better,
I,
possibly.
you are correct. Well, if you talk to JD, I'm friends with him on Facebook, so he must have accepted that at least.
Yes,
Tell him hello.
I
Okay,
will.
so that was the era, but it was an accidental run in at the Target parking lot where I believe we chatted for an hour and a half.
I think so, yes.
That led to more discussions, including what I said, oh, we got to talk about this. If anybody has a small world story to share, and of course, a brief one because there, good morning, goodbye, winter, Jason. Full disclosure, we used to work together.
Okay.
Share it in the comments, and then we can bring it up here. Of course, you have a limited space down here. You know, I once ran into my third grade teacher while on vacation in Hawaii, or if you've got anything like that, because yours was when you tossed out, oh, hey, I grew up in the house across the street where you used to live in Montevideo. What?
Yes. Yes. That was it was so fun because when you would talk about being in your in-home studio, or you would talk about your house or being at home, I knew exactly where you were. I could visualize your in-home studio because you kind of described it a little bit, and I was like, it just took me right there. I'm like, it's so fun to be like, being relatable is really fun, but actually when you can listen to somebody on the radio describe, or talk about where they are, and you can
Picture it.
relate, you've been there, it just like transports you not only back in time, but it just makes it, at least for me, I can't describe, and maybe you can help describe, but how it feels when you just know, like, it's like I'm sitting next to you in that home studio. It transports me there.
Well, I'm hearing more and more people had that feeling. I could only hope on my end in front of this mic that somehow, I was connecting, but you learn along the way about good storytelling. And there's a chapter of that. So you lived across the street
Yes.
from one of my houses in Montevideo. I lived in 3 in the time I was there. What are you doing in the house across the street, which wasn't mine at the time, but did you just knew the neighbors? You pop in and visit?
Well, yeah, they all had kids. So, I mean, I can go back to the people that lived there. My earliest memory of the people that lived there, they were an older couple. The Smiths. He wore a fedora. He had one of those little mustaches that only went like, square
Yeah.
across his lip. Skinny
Yeah.
little man, but very, very debonair. And at that time, there was a staircase in the back of the house that went upstairs to an
Yep.
apartment.
Guess who took that out?
Yes, you did. Well, so as years went by, and families moved in and out, there were several of them. That apartment became part of the house because the families that lived there, because it was a big house, needed the bedroom space. And eventually it got to be where you couldn't be on the stairs because they needed repairs. And then
Mhm.
at some point, there must have been a family that maybe made those repairs if it was still there when you lived there.
Well, a correction.
Okay.
The landing was still there. The stairs to it had been removed. So
Okay.
basically, it was like this little tiny patio off of the halfway landing from upstairs to downstairs. And so I finally removed that landing, removed the door, put in a window that matched the rest of the house because we weren't going to use it as an apartment. The kitchen upstairs, which
Mhm.
would have been in a bedroom originally, then we made into a laundry room, big, nice. I kind of shifted all the cupboards around and fit in the washer and dryer. And so that was a 6-bedroom home.
Yeah.
And yeah, you had to be debonair to live in such a mansion.
Yes.
I just loved old house, you know, a Craftsman old. It was a show house when it was built
Yes.
to show people, well, this is what a Craftsman house can be. And then at some point, the gas company was going around trying to get everybody to do natural gas and get a line to their home, and they gave away built-in grills to
Oh,
encourage them to do that. That was still there when I moved out. Of course, that's been 15, 16 years. And so it's in the ground. You don't have to hook up a tank. It's connected to the house gas and fire it up and go. That was cool.
huh.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
big cellar there has a
Yeah.
built-in grill.
And then remind me, so was your front porch screened?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
somebody had screened it. Yes.
So I can remember when that was not screened in.
Okay.
Yep.
Big
Can,
front porch.
yes, I can still see the white beadboard floors that were painted.
Oh, I think somebody put some outdoor carpet on that. The ceiling, though, was that beadboard like you see. And it had the arched openings, brick front, brick foundation. It was I loved that house. And then the ones who bought it from us, did some nice things to it as well. I haven't been inside of it, but and I believe they're still there. I looked them up. You know, you can look up the property stuff online, and they're still in it. That's fun. Yeah, 6 bedrooms. So one of them became a kitchen. One of them became a small studio. Big dining room with built-ins. It was boiler heat, which is kind of cool. It doesn't dry out like the forced air does.
I will tell people that, like, if we walk into a house and they're like, oh, it's got boiler heat, but it has central air, I'm like, don't pull it out. It's like the cleanest, most, you know, and if it's a newer boiler, it's efficient and it's so even, like it's just an even heat, and your houses don't get dusty. It's like there's no, you know, dead skin cells floating around in the air that you're breathing in. It's falling on your furniture.
And who knows, hair powder. There's hair powder floating around on my desk here. But look at me this way. I didn't even have to shower. And then we were talking about how obviously the house that you lived, and I knew it, the people who lived there when I was there are related to you.
Yeah, they are my third cousins. Yeah, they bought the house from my parents. But it would be my dad's second cousin, Kurt and Sue. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you were going up the street, and then you said, then there was this little stucco one. I believe an elderly lady had it. That was my first house in Montevideo. Because I think she had bequeathed it to the church, and the church was like, we just need to get something. We got it for a song. And that was a solid little nice, smaller craftsman-y house. Lived there, and oh yeah, and then so-and-so on the corner, and I believe her sister lived across the street. And you left Montevideo in middle school, so you were what, 12, maybe 13?
I was 12. Yep, I was 12 and a half, yeah.
And you knew and remember all of these houses. It was destined that you would be a real estate agent.
I believe so, yes. And I can still, like, when I think about, like, I can visualize the houses, and I can walk you through them. Like, I remember distinctly, like, walking in the front door, and the living room was here and the kitchen was here, and like little tiny things about every house that I ever entered in those blocks.
We do that now because when my wife and I are on walks, and she walked this morning in the snow, I did the treadmill. She's more dedicated than I. But when we walk together, we comment on house. Oh, I love this. Or honestly, we judge a few too. Like, oh, you know, what are they thinking? Why would they paint the trim that color? But so then if we're just having conversation, remember that one, we were out for a walk, and you know, it's got the dental molding, and then it had the dusty blue trim, and like, oh yeah, I remember that house over on 14th. So I get that. I dig houses too. Mary loves her boiler, comfort heat. And sometimes I remember ours would I don't know. There'd be a sound.
A clang.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it wasn't annoying. It was like,
Yep.
the heat is going to come on. There's
Yes.
comfort. And then it stays warm. Of course, that's why you have the thermostat set differently, I believe, is because when the forced air shuts off, it's done. But when the boiler shuts off, you still got hot water going. And so it could go beyond where you want it. But I remember that being nice. There's a boiler in my grade school, of course.
Yes.
And in third grade, my desk was right next to the radiator. Maybe that's why I don't want to be hot like when I'm sleeping. That radiator's right there.
Oh,
I have memory when I discovered uh, how a crayon would melt when I'd stick it on that radiator, right down to the nub. I think I spent some time after school when that was discovered.
I'm guessing yes.
Little Timmy. It wasn't the first time I had been to the principal's office by third grade. Oh, yeah. Oh, you think I'm the mild-mannered church organist? I was a rebel in third grade.
Well, knowing Londa, I can see that side of you.
Yes. We both, salty and sweet
Yes,
at the
absolutely.
same time.
Yep.
Uh, it, then it gets to be middle school where I was just back from my reunion 2 years ago. And we walked through the middle school, and I remembered most of it, the lunchroom and it. And we went by the library, and the joke was there were several of my friends. We said, I don't think I was ever in this middle school library. It's 2 stories high. I don't think I ever went in there to study or check out a book. That explains some things too, I'm guessing.
Tim, I have to say that um, I'm not. So I went to Central Middle School in Montevideo.
Hmm.
That might be the one room in that building that I don't recall. Like, I can't remember the library in that school. And I also
Uh,
don't really remember the library in the Wilmer Junior High either. Like, I don't know if I even know where it is. So
well,
it might just be a junior high thing that you don't go to the
yeah,
library in junior high.
you're
It's not
concentrating
cool.
on other things like
Like,
boys, girls, music. I didn't go to school in that Central Middle School. It was still up when I moved there, and then they removed everything but the auditorium. Which now, are you aware that that's gone now too?
yes, it was a sad. So I was showing houses over there probably a few summers ago when they were preparing to tear it down. But I showed like the house right across the street from the west side of the building. And
Yeah,
of course, I was reminiscing about the halls of that school. And to this day, I can still walk you through it with my eyes closed. I just,
my grade school too. I could draw out floor plan.
yes,
Yeah, so the west side was the main entrance off of Third Street. I remember that.
yep,
I just got a call from somebody who he said they're going to gather a meeting on could we get private funding because they have no auditorium now. I hear they're doing band concerts in the gymnasium, and really for theater, what are they going to do? And there's a referendum, and it's expensive. So that's some talk in Monty that I've missed out on. I hope they can pull something off there. But middle school also is a crucial time for development of your taste in music. And you had another story. You've got so many great stories
yeah.
about the first song you remember played on my former radio station.
Yes, Come Sail Away. Every time I hear it, I was tuning in on my little stereo with the radio. It was a all in one piece that I gotten for Christmas back, of course, in the 70s. An 8-track tape. It had the AM FM radio, which back then was kind of like an upgrade,
Oh, yeah.
and the record player on the top. And I had that thing. My parents, I think, finally gave it away when I was gone at college.
Ah,
That thing brought me Q102. When I discovered Q102 and that Come Sail Away, I never, until I went to Fargo, I listened to Q102 my whole the whole time. The whole time.
The question is, was Come Sail Away new when you were listening to it, like
Yes.
late 70s? I don't.
Late 70s,
It's
yes.
probably impolite for me to.
But it's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind.
Okay.
You know what? I'm an old soul. I love all that 70s music, like the
Yeah.
Sean Cassidy, the Bee Gees. You and I have that love for the Bee Gees.
Yes, they were songsters,
Oh, they
songsmiths.
had. I like have their. Well, back when you could be a part of the CD club, I have their gold, like their gold CD collection. I think there's 5 CDs in there.
Ooh,
2.
I don't
Well,
have
I don't
that.
know. I have their gold collection. But yeah, listening to ABBA on 8-track, and my first 8-track tape was Debbie Boone. Remember Debbie Boone?
You light up my life, right?
Yeah.
I had one of those aftermarket 8-track machines bolted under the dashboard of my first car, and then that was high tech. The album that I remember when I was in 5th grade, Electric Light Orchestra, Face the Music. YouTube that and then track it, and then imagine 10-year-old Tim playing that when he couldn't sleep at night. It's dark. I mean, it's cool. I just knew this is something special. We saw ELO a few years ago. Amazing. And they're doing a farewell tour this year. In fact, tickets go on sale today. I don't think we're going to be able to do that considering our current situation. Go to my tip jar so I can go to ELO one last time.
Yes.
But there was some weird stuff and backwards singing, but a great band. Somebody wanted to add here. Oh, Heather, Andy Gibb.
Yes. Andy Gibb. I had a poster of him. Yeah. So fun little tip or fun little point of or whatever about me. I had a portable 8-track tape player. With the headphones. Remember the headphones that took up your whole head?
We called them cans in the early radio. They were like cans on your head.
If you go into my Facebook page, you will find a photo, I think I'm tagged in it, of me holding on to that portable 8-track player with my headphones on one year for Christmas. And I was thinking what was that?
That's like the early Walkman, but with a giant 8-track.
I was a huge music buff, and my parents, they delivered from my birthday and Christmas. I got all the latest and greatest toys when it came to music. I was thinking back last night. I'm like, my first record I ever bought to play on my record player was Billy Joel Glass Houses.
Oh, I can picture the album cover. He's ready to toss a stone.
Yes.
My first 45 that I bought with paper route money was Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. And I had one of those little plastic record players. I dug that up a few years ago. In 19, there was too much rain in South Dakota. My basement flooded. Dug up that very player. Didn't still have that record, but we had Seasons in the Sun by Terry Jacks.
Yes.
Dropped the needle, and it still worked.
Really? Oh.
Music puts you in a place. Like, oh, look at this. Warren here, first album, Chicago 2. Warren was the chief engineer at the radio station I worked at in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Really?
And we reconnected here on Facebook a couple of years ago. That's so cool to... Hi, Warren. Lovely to see you. There's another Billy Joel. Saw him in concert. Yeah, I saw him with Elton John at Target Center.
Ooh, that would be one. I had an opportunity to go. I just couldn't float the price of the tickets at that time in my life.
There's another one. Glass Houses Tour, Teresa's first concert. I was just looking through some photos last night. I saw Joan Jett out near Boston. This would have been in 89, and the tickets were $19.95.
Yes, I believe that I saw Bryan Adams for $19.95 in Fargo, North Dakota. Yep, that was a good concert, actually.
So quickly, so you went from Montevideo to Fargo. What era then did you live in Fargo?
Okay, so I went from Montevideo to Wilmer, where I graduated. And then I moved to Fargo in 1990. And then I kind of became a tech. So those were the years of the salt and pepper.
Oh,
Salt and
yeah.
pepper. Yep. And then because I lived in Fargo, they also were opening up the country bars, and I became more of like a country person up there. So for those few years, I was either techno, because I worked at the old Broadway in downtown Fargo, and I worked days and then I hosted at night, and that was like the techno era. And if I wasn't there, I was over at Buck's Bar and line dancing and two-stepping
I
to
never did Bucks. Now,
Bucks.
Mix Office in Moorhead for burgers.
Oh, Mix Office. They're 4-for-1s.
Yes. Oh, my God. Because I was going to say, the next thing is going to be, I worked on radio in Fargo Moorhead from about 82, 83 to 85. And then you go, oh, I remember that. But we didn't cross paths there. Heather, Billy Joel, Elton John in Iowa. Nice. Bill's first 8-track, Waylon, first album, Grease soundtrack.
Jill, my second album was the Grease soundtrack, because that was when Grease had come out in the theaters and I went to go see it. I'm guessing my mom would always tell me, you're going to wear a groove in that record, because I'd play it over and over and over and over again.
Picture in your mind's ear the sound of an overplayed record, especially a 45, because you always had to start it at the beginning, and it would always do that first.
Yeah.
Because we played it so much. Memories. And thank you for those who were on this morning to share the memories. We're going to get rolling here in a little bit. I love that we've connected accidentally in coffee shops and Target parking lots, and now here, so many stories to tell. And if anybody was interested in getting a hold of you, look at that.
Yeah,
I got a crew on this.
You got a crew
of technicians in my TV studio here.
Yes.
BrendaRouse.edinarealty.net. Now, go make some closings, and perhaps we can do this again, because we're just like, oh, we should talk about, oh, I remember the time. We'll do it again.
We didn't even get to talk about me walking through your house.
This one?
Well, I mean, I could also walk you through the one you live in. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one in Monty, I could walk you through. Like, I think my favorite part of that house, if I remember right, that front porch was amazing.
Yep.
The staircase was so there were 2 staircases in that house, correct? There was one in the back.
There was only the one in the back that I recall, aside from that apartment entry from outside.
Yes.
So off of the kitchen, which, like all old kitchens, had about 28 doors.
Yes.
To the side, there was a side door. Maybe that's what you're thinking, and a little step out to that built-in grill.
Yep.
And then there was the door into the hallway, the door into the dining room, and then you go into the back entry. A lot of doors, but the staircase, if you came out of the kitchen, you go up, hit the landing, and then up again.
Yes.
To the upstairs, long hallway right down the middle of bedroom, bathroom, 2 bedrooms, and master on the end. How about downstairs? Dining room, the
built-ins.
Built-in.
Mm-hmm.
The living room was as wide as the porch. It was the whole front of the house.
The whole front of the house. And, and I didn't spend a lot of time in that part of the house, because back in those days, that was not your area. You were in your bedrooms. Like, that's where you played. That's where you did your thing. And I was under the age of 12. So we did a lot of playing, or we were outside. I mean, in that neighborhood growing up, I remember playing. So we had a park a block away, which had its own ball field, but we oftentimes played in this middle of the street. We'd use all 4 corners as bases home plate, first place, or first
Yes.
base, second base. Yeah. And we would play right there in the middle of the street. And I'm thinking, was nobody watching us? Like, who was in charge?
As long as
Yeah.
you're home for supper.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, the noon whistle would blow and you knew you had to go home and have lunch. And then at 5 o'clock, you better be hightailing it home.
I do know what you mean, though, by, as friends, you probably always came in the back door, and there were 2 bedrooms downstairs also and 4 upstairs. It was a huge house.
Huge.
Same with my best friend lived 2 blocks away back in Mitchell. I would always go in the back where they had a family room, and maybe we went upstairs to his bedroom to play with G.I. Joes. Almost never in the living room. That was for entertaining.
Yes. Oh, that was where the parents were smoking their cigarettes and watching The Price is Right.
Oh, there's one more. Grease at the Montevideo Drive-In.
Oh, the Monty Drive-In.
Where was that? I never saw that.
So KDMA.
Yeah.
It was before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Starlight.
Yep. Now I remember that there was one there. It just wasn't there. One more for Jan. My birthday, I got the coolest yellow 8-track player, probably similar to yours, Brenda. You guys were forward thinking for music technology, a portable 8-track player.
Yes. Mine was cream colored, but yes, Jan, probably very much like the same together. Yes.
Well, I'm going to run for now. I actually have some shoveling to do, mostly for the dogs, so that they have a place to go. And this was fun. Stay in touch.
I will.
And have a good weekend.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, everybody. If you're watching this later, which a lot of people do, remember, love is even better, comment, share, and keep this alive. Have a good, safe weekend. More snow coming Sunday night and Monday. Woo! Yay!
No.